Hello everybody, this is Louise Eddington, the Cosmic Owl of Cosmic Owl Astrology, and I'm continuing my meandering looks at the presidential candidates, the Democratic presidential candidates. I promise I will look at Trump sometime as well. But while you're here, if you like these videos and want to support my work, please subscribe. Maybe check the bell below next to that says get notified when I upload new videos. More subscribers I have, the better the algorithms on YouTube. That's the way YouTube works. So I'm going to look today at Bloomberg again, because Bloomberg is now second in the latest national poll. We've had two. We've had Iowa caucus and New Hampshire primary, and Bernie Sanders is the current front runner. Full disclosure, he's my candidate. Full disclosure, I do not like somebody buying elections. So I'm going to try and keep my bias out a little bit, but we'll see. So anyway, here's Mike Bloomberg's chart. His time is a confirmed one. So we can look at that. And so today I'm going to look at Mike Bloomberg a little bit on his natal chart. And also I am going to look at his chart with the USA's chart and the election day chart. But I went in my last look at Bloomberg, I didn't really pay much attention to his natal chart, which of course is what everything comes and stems from. So the first thing that jumps out at me is that he has a lot of fixed energy. Okay, if we look, in fact, all of his personal planets are in fixed signs. So I'm actually going to take out some of the, and I can put them back in, some of the dwarf planet energies and some of the asteroids, so you can get a stark picture of it. I think that's what I want to take out. Oh, let's take Pallas Athena out too. And let's take Lilith out for now. All right, so you can see this is his chart stripped of some of the asteroids and things, and personal planets left in, just to give you a more stark picture. So the fixed signs are Taurus, Leo. So Taurus is here, Leo, Scorpio and Aquarius, and this guy has major fixed emphasis in his chart, primarily in Aquarius, where he has a huge stellium. Now Aquarius, like all signs, has good and bad qualities. It can be very authoritarian, and the more I've learned about Bloomberg's history, which I only knew vaguely about when he first came on the picture, the more I realize how authoritarian he was as a mayor, and how he kind of changed things. So he managed to be a third term as a mayor. You know, some people did well under him in New York. Some people did really badly under him, especially if you look at stop and frisk and things like that. The other thing that jumps out at me about his natal chart, so this is all very fixed energy, and he's got no water really in his chart apart from his south node. So he probably, and he is Cancer rising, but he can give the appearance of being very caring. But his moon that rules his Cancer ascendant is in detached Aquarius, and often people with moon in Aquarius, I live with a moon in Aquarius, kind of are very they care, but in a very detached way. They're not emotionally involved. They're not full of empathy and feeling and things like that. So, you know, it can go either way. It doesn't necessarily mean that they don't care, but they care in this very detached mental way. And Mercury is conjunct his moon. So, and that's retrograde. Venus is retrograde conjunct there. It's all very detached, very authoritarian. Saturn and Uranus are the old and modern rulers of all this Aquarius, and he's got them over here in Taurus, which is another fixed sign, which is very materialistic. Generally, it likes to accumulate material comforts. But it's also in the 11th house, which is that area of groups and organizations again. He's got this really authoritarian vibe, all right? But the other thing that jumps out at me is his Pluto in Leo generation, which, you know, Bernie Sanders is too and things. It's a generational thing. But he's got Pluto in the first house. And his Pluto is very close to the wounded healer asteroid or comet or whatever you want to call it, Chiron or Chiron in Leo. And all this in Leo in the first house suggests that he has some deep-rooted psychological wounds about wanting to be king, if you like, in Leo, and probably where he hasn't been, or where he's been dethroned in past lifetimes and such like. So some of his natal chart brings some warning signs to me. So maybe this is why he's been so driven all his life to gain such power and money, and why he uses his wealth to gain that power. So I wouldn't think of him as being very altruistic here. If you look at some of the history that's out there on the internet right now, he has, you know, he's said awful things about women. He's had many harassment and discrimination cases against him or his company. And most of these people were settled with NDAs. The whole stop and frisk thing was just horrific, really. And I know he's kind of apologized now he's running for president. But anyway, I'm trying to leave my bias out of it. But these are facts, all right? You know, just look at the history. Look at how he treated Muslims. Look at how he kind of basically switched to independent, I think, and kind of bought, you know, he kind of rigged the law to change it so he could be a third-term mayor. He's currently spent about $500 million, as I record this, on advertising, donations to people who are, strangely enough, endorsing him. You know, he's basically buying the election, it seems. So anyway. So Mike Bloomberg with the USA chart. All right, let's have a look at this now. Well, he's with the USA Sibley chart. Is this the right chart? Yes, it is. Let's change them around. I prefer to see it on the inside. Okay, because that just works better for me. I'm going to add some of those other things back in now, because I like to look at them all. And so in the middle, we have the USA chart. All right. So let's look at some connections. Well, his Venus is very much on the north node of the USA, but his Venus is retrograde. So it might appear like he's a man of the people, but he may not be. And you know, maybe he is well-meaning. Maybe he is gonna, you know, maybe he does mean well. Who knows? But we'll see. His Jupiter is right on the descendant of the USA. That means kind of what we attract or how we compromise. It's the other, and you know, people will see him maybe as this teacher, guru, kind of like his words are going to save us, that kind of thing. So there's that. Other nothing else really jumps out at me, except that his Pluto is on, sorry, his Venus on the south node of the USA, and his Pluto, oh, he's got Venus opposite Pluto too. I forgot to mention that. I don't like that much either, really. He's got women wounds, which kind of shows up with some of his comments about women. But anyway, his Pluto is close to the north node of the USA, but that's a generational thing. You know, Bernie's is there too. You know, so it's not a standout kind of exercise, really. So I'm going to ditch the USA's chart. I don't really necessarily think that he has the connection with the USA chart that I would look for to think that he's really well suited as the president. All right, so let's now look at the election chart for November 2020, and let's look for connections there. All right, you know, I don't see much there. I'm going to swap them around so that Mike's in the middle. See what the date's happening to him. Yeah, Chiron is on his midheaven, his mission in life, which is very much to be a leader, Aries, to be in power, okay, and to basically rule one in a different way to Leo, but kind of take it's the pioneer, the entrepreneur, the leader, definitely the leader. He wants to lead. And the Chiron is coming up to that, so maybe that's not such a good thing for him, I think, perhaps. So Saturn on Saturn and Pluto. Saturn's moving into his 7th house of other people. I actually don't think he's going to win. Personally, I just don't see it, really. And personally, I'm quite relieved by that. But we'll see. I could be wrong. I don't really do predictions. The North Node is traveling backwards by transit into his 11th house of causes and things. So maybe he'll make some difference through his causes. I actually do not see that he's gonna really get the election. And looking at his natal chart, I'm actually not that keen on the idea. So so there you go. There's my follow-up one to Bloomberg. Somebody asked me to do him next. So there we have it.